Hello everybody, Rusted Ground here, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be checking out Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. This is the first game from developer Stormteller Games and the second game in the universe of Random. As you can see on screen, this is a fast-paced action roguelite where you play as Queen Aleksandra, who is trapped inside the black die and is trying to escape this nightmarish realm. Fun fact, Queen Aleksandra is actually the villain in the first Lost in Random game, and many of the characters and story elements in The Eternal Die do tie in with the first game, although it's not required to play the first game in order to understand what's going on in this game.
Once upon a time, in the wonderful kingdom of Random, everyone lived happily, in order and in prosperity. This was all thanks to the great Queen Aleksandra, who fairly wielded the power of the ancient black die. But this black die was an ally of many faces.
So, Queen Aleksandra and her companion, this little die called Fortune, are trapped inside the black die by a creature called Mare the Night, and she is looking for a way to escape. In order to do that, she must complete all of Mare's games and defeat all of the creatures that stand in her way. Throughout her journey, she meets all sorts of characters that are also trapped inside the black die, and as she was the villain from the first game, all the characters that she meets will treat her like the villain that she once was. And from a story perspective, you have this sort of redemption arc happening for Aleksandra.
Armor? Impossible! I ended you. You and your sisters.
And yet, here we are, feeding Mare with our misery. But with my blessings, we can restore your lost strength.
Blessings? You'd sooner curse me. Keep your filthy magic away.
Do you want to regain your strength, or not?
All these characters that are trapped inside with Aleksandra need her help to escape, and throughout the game they bring out a different side in Aleksandra, a more heroic and kind side. And yeah, that's the main gist of the game from a story perspective.
Ah, you look ready? Enter Mare's dark games here, but beware, these challenges are rigged, and no two visits are alike. Rooms twist and turn, treasures are found and lost again. A foe that you have beaten returns.
Random rules.
This journal might provide some sense of order along the way. Now, if anyone can defeat Mare and lead us out of this nightmare, it is you. Best of luck, Dice Wielder.
Now, let's talk about gameplay. In many ways, Lost in Random: The Eternal Die is a very straightforward roguelite. Within the Eternal Die, there are 4 worlds that you will get to fight through, and at the end of each world, there is a boss. Each world has a random number of rooms and different type of mobs. You can also find mini-bosses in each world, as well as rooms that contain story bits or characters that you can help. During each run, you will collect gold, which you can then spend inside the shop room. Each world will have a guaranteed shop room, and from what I can see, it is worth exploring all of the rooms, even though you might find the boss entrance relatively quickly.
Oi, Dice Wielder! Oi, oi, oi! Well, if it isn't a living customer, and a dice wielder at that, did I win the old raffle or something?
A merchant? Inside the black die?
Not any merchant. Manny Check's the best trader around if you ask me. Also the only one, to be fair. Never knew I'd cherish Monopoly this much. I tell ya, makes saving up for that big pension a whole lot easier. Anyway, what you having?
As you clear rooms, you will also collect 2 types of meta currency, which you will be able to use in the sanctuary portion of the game. This is the main base area outside the dungeon, but more on that a little later. Inside the dungeon, the main progression mechanic is to collect relics and pearls. The relics are items that you can add to your player board, and each relic has a set number of colors, typically between 1 and 3 colors. The relic will give you a specific passive ability, while the colors are supposed to be matched, and once you match 3 or more colors in a line, these colors will enhance one of your stats. As you can see on screen right now, you have 5 stats that you will want to enhance. Weapon power, card power, dice power, conjurations power, and luck. Pearls, on the other hand, are only used to color match as they don't have any other properties and will be destroyed once the color matching happens. You will have a limited space for relics, as you can see, and towards the later parts of each run, you will get to a point where you will have to decide if you want to keep some of the relics you have or replace them with others, potentially more powerful. Moving on to the combat portion of the game, there are 3 elements that contribute to the combat aspect. First, you have your weapon. Aleksandra starts off with a broken sword, but then she can quickly unlock a mace, a bow, or a spear. Each weapon has 4 different augmentation types, and each augmentation has 3 main components. I found that the description of what each augmentation does is very clear, so you can very easily decide what you want to unlock first. Throughout my first 10 hours of playing this game, my favorite weapon has been the spear, followed by the bow. These weapons, as well as their augmentations, are unlocked using one of the 2 meta currencies that you collect inside the dungeon.
My body, at last! Rack is back and betting on black! I feel so broken. Would you mind doing me a favour, miss?
Does this favor by any chance involve pulling weapons out of your body?
Yes! Bit of the good old rat creation. That would loosen these deadly accessories. If you can bring me cinders, I can become whole again. Nothing burns better in the belly. Look!
The second element of combat is your companion, Fortune, which is this little die that you can throw, and it is essentially like a grenade, and depending on what number it lands on, it will do more or less damage. And with the use of the relics that you find, you can modify what happens when it lands on various numbers and also its overall damage potential. The third and final combat element is the spell that you get inside the dungeon. Every time you start the run, the first room will have this card that you can equip, and it gives you a certain spell. Throughout each run, you will find other cards that you will have to, decide if you want to keep your initial spell or swap with the new one. Same as with Fortune, the use of relics will help you modify the attributes of the spell and augment it, giving you the possibility to create a specific build for that run.
Rest if needed, Aleksandra. The Sanctuary is the one place in the Black Die safe from Mare's reach. No one truly knows why, but a clever mind will use it to their advantage.
The last thing I want to talk about is the Sanctuary. This is the area that you get to every time you finish a run. This is your main base of operations where you will be able to spend the meta currencies to unlock weapons and their powers, as well as permanent upgrades to your character called blessings. Aside from all that, each character that you meet inside the Black Die will join you in the Sanctuary, and most, if not all of them, will have a side quest which will help develop the story a bit more and help you on your road to redemption.
That's all the weapons for now. Feeling loose and smooth. Really helps me become whole again. But
There's more.
yes! You see, before Formageddon created all them palms in my image, he ripped out my burning heart.
Makes sense. What good is a minion with a heart?
Right? Well, I've been on a thin, dark fuel diet ever since, and I'm slowly running out. Without that, I'll go silent.
Silent? As in, no more bad jokes? I was joking. We'll find that heart, Rack. We'll make you whole again.
These side quests will most likely require you to find certain items, and as long as you explore every room when inside the dungeon, you will be able to complete the side quests without any problem. But yeah, that's it from me when it comes to Lost in Random: The Eternal Die. This is a game that I'm really enjoying. I really like the art style, the combat is very snappy and extremely polished. And although there are only 4 areas to explore before encountering the final boss, there is a lot of diversity, and after you roll credits, you can essentially play the game for as long as you want, as you will unlock a difficulty system as well as the ability to modify each dungeon run.
Step into my humble pawn shop. What can I do for you, whom I have certainly never met before?
We just beat you. Twice. Stop playing games, Formageddon.
Bah! I don't play games. I construct them. You're mistaking me for my relative, the Foreman, that cheating gambler.
The game doesn't offer that much content story-wise, but gameplay-wise, I think you can easily invest a few tens of hours into it. If you want to try it out for yourselves, there is a demo on Steam that you can download and check out right now. Otherwise, the game is €25 on Steam, or if you have a Game Pass subscription, it is included in that. And with that, I will end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It would really help me out a lot. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
This is Rak's burning heart. Let's return it to him.